I came up under a lot of people that wouldn't dress the complete set, like certain drawers and things like that weren't scripted to be open. I dress everything. I dress every drawer. I dress everything because my biggest fear is for an actor to open that drawer and see it empty and him be taken out for a moment, him or her to be taken out for a moment.
This is Thier of the Independent Film School interviewing filmmakers whose work premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival. Links below this video to join us for the many free trainings that we offer. Okay, welcome. I'm here with Ryan Warren Smith, production designer on the Holdovers and so many films. You've been around for a long time. I just checked you out on IMDb and was like, oh, so much work, so many years. Yeah, so production designer on the Holdovers, directed by Alexander Payne. It's quirky and poignant and moving and honest, and it's all about human connection in all of its glory and mess, and across generations and across backgrounds, and just really, just a beautiful, beautiful film.
Oh, thanks for that. That's great.
Maybe we start there. Tell us what you love about the Holdovers.
It's a lot of the same things, I have 2 young kids, and so I'm trying to shift gears into what I'm putting out into the world. And so I really want to put things out that, are more in line with what got me wanting to make movies when I was a kid. And that's things that emotionally affected me and made me think about my own life. And so, yeah, when I read this script, I was just like, oh, this is beautiful because, there's so much division and there's so much chaos that I want to tell stories that, kind of help mend that a bit and help, with just allowing us to love each other a little bit more.
Oh, that is so well said. You just gave me chills.
Thanks.
So let's shift gears and talk about production design. What do you enjoy in terms of the relationship between you and the director as a production designer? What do you like in directors? What kind of a director do you enjoy serving?
I love working with directors that are open, and also allow the outside world to inform what we're creating. And for me, I create these environments that need to feel real to the characters. And so for me, the story is number one always.
There might be some overlap in your response, but what's most exciting to you in production design, and what are the biggest challenges, or what are some of the challenges?
Challenges, there's always so many, especially with doing like a period film. Budgetarily, there's never enough money and time on any film. And I've done all different levels, small and super big budget. And it's always the same. Those challenges are always there. And so for me, I don't let any of that get me down. It only forces me to be more creative, which I love. And I love, like more than anything, just character building. I love doing that and being able to have an actor come into an environment and it help them in their performance. Like that's really so important to me.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I've been in directing workshops where even in the rehearsal process, wearing a certain costume, wearing the right shoes, it changes the performance. When I work with actors in a workshop setting, I'll never let somebody pretend to write. It's like, that makes my brain hurt. You got to actually be writing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have the same philosophy with all my sets. Like I came up under a lot of people that wouldn't dress the complete set, like certain drawers and things like that weren't scripted to be open. I dress everything. I dress every drawer. I dress everything because my biggest fear is for an actor to open that drawer and see it empty and him be taken out for a moment, him or her to be taken out for a moment. And so, yeah, that's another thing that is super important to me. And set decorator Marcus Whitman is we dress everything. We dress the set completely 100%, which is
wow, that's
very,
amazing.
very helpful. And actors love it. I've had so many thank me for that, which is really, really incredible.
Oh, that's amazing. So just logistically speaking,
Mm.
is the production designer the person who's in charge? Like, are you in charge of all the various art departments? There's,
Yeah. Yeah. So
sets and props and
exactly.
wardrobe
Yeah.
and
So the best way to describe it is like I'm in charge of everything you see in front of the camera. And so I have to oversee the locations department and make sure we're getting all the right things that we need. I'm not in charge of wardrobe, but I'm in contact with them as I'm creating a set to make sure none of our colors are clashing at all. And then I'm in charge of the prop department. So an actor who touches anything that's a prop. If I'm in charge of the set decoration department, so any furniture and surrounding. I'm in charge of the picture card department, which is any car that you see. And then I'm also working in tandem with special effects for snow and rain, anything like that that we might need as well. So yeah, I'm overseeing thousands of tiny details. Forgot to mention, of course, art department, which would be any of the graphics that need to be made, any set that needs to be built, the paint department, anything that needs to be painted or any wallpaper that needs to go up, the paint department does that as well. So yeah, so
right,
that's, yeah,
right.
a lot.
And then you mentioned the special effect.
Yes,
And is hair makeup their own? Do they go
it
rogue
is.
or do they work with you as well?
They're their own thing. I don't talk to them we talk in creative meetings, but there's not much overlap with us.
Yeah, it's interesting what you were saying before about budgets, because I've been at meetings with like the micro budget where you're making a movie with $50,000 and then
Yeah,
a meeting where you're making a movie with $5 million and it's like, it's the same exact conversations.
it is. Yeah.
Always a feeling of like, how do we get creative and resourceful with whatever is available?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's always, I
Um,
think, really smart to always figure out where you want to put the money, which ones are important. Yeah, that's always huge, no matter the budget level, is to figure out where you want to put it.
right. That makes a lot of sense. So with one film, it's going to be like, there's a whole car chase that's set in the 20s.
Yeah.
Um, and then you put less into what's in the drawers,
Yeah.
vice versa, depending on the story. What advice would you give directors in choosing and working with production designers? What should
Yeah.
directors look for?
I think it's the same thing. I think that you want to look for somebody who's very open and who's not going to be too much of a micromanager, who's going to want to be in a band and not be a solo artist, I think,
Mm.
somebody who's creative and resourceful. And
Mm.
I think positivity and humor goes really, really, really long way.
Yep. Those are the boxes to check. And are there directors who you've developed relationships with where you're their guy when they go make a film, or
Yeah.
is it for constantly looking for the next project?
I am constantly looking for new directors and that, but I do have directors. Jeremy Saunier is one of them, who I've done numerous projects with, Green Room, and we did Hold the Dark. We did True Detective together. And then Alexander's another one. This is our second project that we've done together. So yeah, I build these relationships where you have this shorthand and and that goes a real long way, where the conversations, the more time you spend together, the conversations just get shorter and shorter because you just understand each other so well. And so, yeah, those
Right.
ones I value so much, but I'm always looking for new ones as well. Yeah.
And my mind keeps going back to what you said earlier about building character through the art and the film,
Yes. Yeah.
creating the environment. Can you give me some examples, either from the Holdovers or from any other film? Although it'd be fun to hear about the Holdovers since you just saw it freshly.
Yeah.
Examples of how you create an environment that builds a character.
Yeah. Like I'll start with Paul's character. Because Paul, you really only see his environment, his apartment one time. And it's, you have to say a lot in that short amount of time. And so for us, we made a real conscious effort to show how stuck he was and how neglectful he was of certain things like laundry and dishes and things like that. Alexander ended up, introducing that scene with close-ups of all of our set dressing, which was the most flattering thing in the world for us because that wasn't scripted. And that was one of those things that he saw and was like, okay, it's a really great way to show a little bit about him. And then he ended up doing it with other characters as well. And so, yeah, for Paul's character, it's really important to show what he's into now, but it's even more important to show what he was into 10 years ago, because us as humans, we create these piles of past interests. And those are really important to see around, even if you don't see close-ups of it, like you don't always get to, you can feel it. And those create a feeling and a tone in the room that can say a lot without saying too much.
Yeah, I'm remembering the visual of seeing him in his office, and it's like you get this claustrophobic feeling and just piles of paper and books, and there's like, you're like, there's no air in this room. And then you go to his boss, the dean master. Yeah.
And
have this like palatial kind of stuffy, richer than you office.
Very much. A lot of space and a lot of wealth and expensive items, and everything's very organized and neat. It's a bookend. It's just another bookend and a polar opposite of what Paul isn't.
And then you see the dorms, where to me the feeling of the dorms, it brought me back to youth, and it's like these kids are being put in storage by their parents.
Agreed. That and the only character you really see in there is what they put up on their walls or things like that, but everything else is really uniform.
I always say the sign of a master is where the work is invisible. You just kind of take it for granted, and you don't see all the work that went behind it. Because when you're watching the film, you're like, of course they're here, and he's here, and he's here.
Yeah.
You don't realize how much thought and creativity went into everything in that frame. Yeah.
And that's like the ultimate goal for me with my crew when I start a film, especially one like this, is that I never want to be distracting to the viewer. I never want to take the viewer out of the story. I want them to think that this is the real place and that this was found this way. And so they don't even think it's a set, or don't even, they can just focus on the story, like I said, which is always number one. So that's really the ultimate compliment.
We just showed up at that school and started shooting. Yeah.
And we shot that in 5 different schools too. So that was art week. And that's the other thing is we had to make it feel like one school, but we couldn't find everything at one school, of course. So that's 5 different schools that we made into our one Barton cabin.
Wow. You just blew my mind.
Oh, good.
So if somebody is interested in art, specifically in that aspect of filmmaking, how does one forge new relationships? How do you network, which is what people are often scared of?
I think it's good to just be eager. And if you are, like, I started at the bottom. I was a PA and I worked my way up. But once I found out I wanted to be in the art department, I would go talk to all those people and try to become an art PA, try to get in that way. And that way I could learn a little bit more. And then I've written so many fan letters to people over the years as I was coming up, just trying to, I was obsessed with movie and DVD commentaries and behind the scenes DVDs. And so if I would see something, I would write letters to people as well. And that's been something that I think has gotten lost over time, but I get letters sometimes and it's the best thing because I'm happy to, take the time to give any advice that I might have. But I've had so many people give me great advice just through that alone and just reaching out cold to people.
That's so inspiring. So you started as a PA and then you began to work as an art PA. PA is production assistant, those who don't know. And then I saw on IMDb you were doing set dressings and...
Yeah, I was a prop master, set dressing. I've been a coordinator. I've been a painter. I've been construction. I kind of worked all the different departments as I came up, which now looking back is really, really great because when I ask somebody to oversee an idea that I'm coming up with, I know what that idea takes. And so that was really great for me to work all those jobs, because I won't ask something that I know is going to be impossible or is going to drive somebody insane. Because I think it's important to be kind to your crew and treat them in a way where you do it with utmost appreciation with all the artists and what they do.
Oh, that's awesome. So how long a journey was that from a production assistant to being the production designer who's overseeing all these departments? That was like a 3-month journey, 6 months?
I wish. I wish. Well, I'll tell you, from my first PA job to production designing the Holdovers was, let me do the math here, was 25 years. And I would say production design of my first film, that was about 12 years. A lot of time, a lot of hard work, a lot of time, a lot of patience.
Yeah, that's what I say to students. The path, this is all about the long game, and so many years. But if you're enjoying the journey as you go, it's going to be hard and hard work and da-da-da. But if you're enjoying the journey, then it's okay, no matter how long it is, because you've enjoyed the route. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. And it takes all that. Like, I learned so much, tremendous amount on the journey. There's no way I would do it differently.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Again, Ryan, the production designer on the Holdovers. We have a link under this video to the film. And any last thing you want to say? I want to offer you the last words, if you want.
No, I just think, let's all be kind to each other and love each other. And I hope you like the film. And if you do, drop me a line. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you. Thanks so much for your interest in my work.
Thanks so much, Ryan.
Thank you, Ella.
You've subscribed to my channel. You love these videos. It's time for that 90-minute masterclass where I help you eliminate writing blocks and arrive at your best screenplays. Join me at theindependentfilmschool.com. Link is below, and I'll invite you to my training. It is absolutely free. I'll see you there.